All right, let's go through knowledge check 6.3.5. So the first step is create a new R Markdown document with file, new file, R Markdown. Knit it by clicking the appropriate button and knit it by using the appropriate keyboard shortcut. Verify that you can modify the input and see the output update. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to create a new project. I'm going to go up here to this new file, drop down here, and you can see you can choose a bunch of different files. I'm going to choose R Markdown. And we can go ahead and we can name this. I'll go ahead and name it my first R Markdown document. The author is myself, and it fills in the date. And it gives you a few different options here. We can have the default be an HTML document, PDF, Word. I'm just going to leave the default HTML. We can always change this after the fact. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now when we do this, it's going to open up the document and it provides us some example text and code in here to kind of get you started with writing an R Markdown document. So you can see it's untitled. I will go ahead and I'm going to save this. Just in the default location. Oh, you know what? I wanted to actually save this as a different file name. Let me go ahead and find this. All right, so here's actually a good example. If you ever want to change a file name within RStudio, down here in this files window, we can go ahead, we can select it. So here I've got this untitled .rmd file. Check that. I'm going to go ahead and hit rename, and I'm just going to go ahead and do my first document. There we go. All right. So we can go ahead and we can knit this a few different ways. One option is to go ahead and we can come up here and I could just hit this knit button here. And that is going to knit the default. And you can see I have the default document right here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to hit this. And it's going to go ahead and write the default document that we get when we open our Markdown document, and it's going to save it or create our HTML document. You can kind of see the output here. Now I can always change the type of output. I can change it to an HTML, to PDF, or Word. If I go ahead and click on PDF, then it's going to go ahead and it's going to knit the document, and I'll get a PDF viewer that pops up, and it has my document in here. And I can do the same thing with the Word document. Right, so we could always change this, or let's go ahead and add some more content here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create another header, and I'm just going to call this another header so we can see it. And then this is some crazy math. And I create a new code or a code chunk here, and I'm just going to go ahead and do some math, and I'm going to save this, and now I'm going to go ahead and knit it. Oh, now what you'll see here is if I go ahead and hit that knit button, in this case the PDF file opened up, and the reason for that is the PDF became my default because I changed, the last thing I did was I changed it to knit to PDF, right? So if we want to keep HTML, we can go ahead and we can just go ahead and delete that. And if I knit, now it should knit to an HTML document. There we go. Right, now we see we added a new header down here, added some verbiage, and then put in some code that got executed. All right, so let's go ahead and look at number 2 here. Practice what you've learned by creating a brief CV or a resume. The title should be your name, and you should include headings for at least education or employment. Now, I'm not going to go through this because that would take quite a while just to write a whole resume. I'll let you monkey around and figure out how to create your own resume. All right, so the first one is using the R Markdown quick reference. Figure out how to add a footnote, add a horizontal rule, and add a block quote. All right, so let's jump over to our document. I'm going to pull up the Markdown quick reference, and that is in the help drop down in the toolbar, and then go ahead and Markdown quick reference, and that'll bring this up. Now, this doesn't render quite as well just because I have my RStudio in a dark mode, and this quick reference guide doesn't really work all that great, but you get the point. All right, so the first thing we want to do is add a footnote. Let's go ahead and let's see if we have anything on footnotes in here. Now, it does not look like we do. So this may require you to actually do some Googling and kind of do some searching. But I'm going to go ahead and show. I know how to do this, but if you were to Google how to add footnote to Markdown or our Markdown, it would pop up. And the way that we do this is to go ahead and use caret. Actually, we're going to add it right here. Add a caret, and then add brackets, and within here is where I add my footnote information. So I'm going to say this really isn't that crazy. And now I can go ahead and I can save this and reknit. And what will happen is, if we scroll down towards the bottom, see now we've got a little footnote indicator here, and that takes you down the bottom. This really isn't that crazy. And then we got a link. So as your file gets longer, you get more footnotes. The links, the hyperlinks of the note, the number for the footnote, and the back arrow at the footnote will take you back and forth in the document. All right, the next thing was add a horizontal rule. Okay, so let's go take a look at our help information, and let's see if I can find a horizontal. There we go. All right, horizontal rule or page break. We can do this a couple different ways. We can use 3 or more asterisks or dashes. So let's just add in between our headers. Let's go ahead and we'll just add some dashes. As long as we do 3 or more, that'll be fine. And I'm going to take that, copy that, and I'm going to add it just before this header as well. I'll reknit. Let's see what happens. All right, so now you can see within our document we have this nice light gray horizontal line that kind of breaks up the sections. And we see another one down here. All right, last one is add a block quote. All right, so if we want to look up block quote, here we see we can add block quotes by using this horizontal caret. So if I were to copy this, what this is going to end up looking like is we have some regular text here, which shows up as regular text, a friend once said, and then you can see everything that follows within these where we add these horizontal carets before the text gets included in this block quote here, right? So knowing that you can kind of use this quick reference guide, there's also a link in here that says to some documentation for using our Markdown that would be useful, and obviously Google and Stack Overflow are going to help quite a bit. That gives you more than enough information to kind of get running on number 2.